You're listening to Pombo and Peter's Picks, the home of your favorite sports betting podcast, presented by The Daily Goat.
Hello and welcome to Pombo and Peter's Picks. I'm Jason Pombo alongside Peter Alves. Peter, how are we doing today?
Pretty good. I have a gripe on the Red Sox, actually. I know it's full-blown NFL,
Sure.
but they
Hit
sent
it.
me – probably they sent you an email, too. They sent an email, like, by April games now. And I was like, you know, there's a lockout, right? It's
Oh,
probably
yes,
not
I
even
did.
going to happen. And I was
I did get that email.
it's a little weird.
So I know we're going to be a football heavy podcast for the next couple weeks, but before we get into that, Peter, what's your takeaway on the lockout so far? Do you think it gets done before the start of the season?
No way. They'll play in, like, May.
Oh, you're finally agreeing with me, huh?
June.
I agree. I said June.
Listen, didn't they, like, come to both sides and it didn't even get close?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be May or June. I think we're probably going to have spring training in April would be my guess. I think the lockout ends in April, but they obviously have to ramp up with spring training and stuff like that. So I think that'll be April, and then we're going to start games May and June.
It'll be like the COVID season 2 years ago or whatever it is.
Also, Peter, I do have a fun fact for you because it's baseball related, and I feel like we're on it, so might as well. Are you aware who the Los Angeles Dodgers just named to be their next general manager?
That pitcher. I don't know his name, but yeah.
Brandon Gomes is the next general manager of the Dodgers. Why is this relevant, Peter? Do you know why it's relevant?
He pitched like 5 years ago, which doesn't
Nope,
make sense.
Not why. Nope.
No?
Okay.
I don't know.
It is relevant, Peter, because he's a Fall River native.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, I didn't think you knew that.
I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, he went to Durfee and all that fun stuff. So shout out to Brandon Gomes, new general manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think that was pretty cool. I read that a couple mornings ago. And because I saw the announcement and the name clicked in my head. Pitcher. I think he played for Tampa Bay, a couple other teams. But
Yeah,
and
I
then
just
saw-
knew he retired way early. And everybody's like, wow.
And I
Sorry
saw
to
an
hear.
article in the Herald News. And yeah, Fall River native Brandon Gomes, next general manager of the Dodgers. I was like, oh, that's pretty damn cool if you ask me. So, Peter, I might start having a Dodgers bias now. For the hometown
That's
roots.
fine. That's a good team to root for.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it's obviously he's not the president of baseball ops and stuff. They clearly have a hierarchy down there with the Dodgers, but I still think that's pretty cool. All right, Peter, let's transition from baseball and Brandon Gomes to football. Wild card weekend was this past weekend. So before we break down the games of this past Saturday and Sunday and Monday, I want to get your overall read of the super wild card weekend because I felt that the overwhelming majority of the playoff first round games weren't that exciting, and it felt like most especially the 2 versus 7 seed games were bad. The Bucs, Eagles, and the Chiefs, Steelers.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I mean, I know they want to expand the playoffs. I think next year, if they want to keep doing the 7 games, which are 7 teams, which I kind of like because I like the competitive down the stretch at the end of the season. I want them to expand it to 8 and then keep the buys 1 and 2 and then make it more competitive that way. It'll be 3, 8, 4, 6, and whatever it is. But yeah, as you said, the competition was bad. I mean, Bucs blew out the Eagles, Chiefs blew out the Steelers. Honestly, all the games are pretty bad.
Yeah. But I kind of want to pin on the 2 to 7 seeds, especially because the Philadelphia Eagles, who haven't beaten a team over 500, they're clearly in a different state than the Bucs are, right? I think we all can agree that the Eagles are a team on the rebuilding side of things. And they got their doors blown off by the Bucs, which is pretty likely. And then you have the other side of things, the Chiefs and the Steelers. The Steelers, in my opinion, have a bottom third offense in the league and pretty much got in due to that weird Chargers-Raiders game that wasn't a tie. So could this be a scenario where the NFL has to deal with these every year? I want to lean no, but I like your idea about 8 playoff teams.
Yeah, and they just put back the buys 1 and 2 if they want to do it that way.
Yeah, and that would make it more interesting because you'd have the 3 versus the 8, the 4 versus 7, 5 versus 6. It would make things interesting. Tell you what, if they end up going to an 18-game regular season, which I fully expect them to do within the next 3 years, then I think that's absolutely on the table.
If they do that, they better put in 2 buys.
That would be part of it. Yeah. So the proposal that they had a couple of years back was 18 regular season games, 2 byes. And the playoff field wasn't talked about, but I think that would make sense then, right? You'd have the 8 playoff teams. Or if you want to stick with 1 bye, and then you could have the 1 and 2 seed get the bye in the playoffs. So I don't know. I guess you could really mix and match with it, but if you get your wish with the 8 playoff teams, then I think the regular season has to be expanded. That's my guess. But let's start off with the first game last Saturday afternoon. Bengals Raiders. I was wrong about this one. I had the Raiders +6. I felt good about Derek Carr and the Raiders. They were hot. I know Joe Burrow, who I heard what you said about him in the Bo Sock this week. You're all on Joe Burrow.
January Joey, he never loses a big game in his whole entire life.
January Joey, I know you're on him. But I felt good about the Raiders. You picked the Bengals, so you were 1-0 on that. I was 0-1. The Bengals won 26-19 over the Raiders. Joe Burrow, first playoff game, clearly not afraid of the spotlight. He was 24 of 34 for 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was sacked only twice. He had a QBR of 62.6 and a quarterback rating of 110.4. Jamar Chase, he produced as we all expected him to, 9 receptions for 116 yards over 12 targets. The other side of things, the Raiders, I don't think Derek Carr played great in this game. He was 29 of 54 for 310 yards and a touchdown and a pick. Darren Waller, he had 7 receptions and for 76 yards. Zay Jones, he had 5 catches for 61 yards. But I think my overall takeaway of this game had to be the officiating. Other than the game itself, I think the officiating in this game was weak. What do you think of the call where the whistle was blown and the play kind of continued and the Bengals scored a touchdown?
I don't know. I mean, listen, if they wanted to do that, I mean, they could have called it way back. I mean, Joe Burrow said he didn't hear it. I kind of believe him.
Oh yeah, it's not on Burrow.
I know the Raiders are pissed. If the refs really want to do something, they could have stepped in and said this play is absolutely dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't hate it. And there's a big narrative going around. It's been shown. Obviously, this game is a wash because it was first quarterbacks, like first playoff games, but every single quarterback that started their first playoff game absolutely melted.
Yeah.
And I mean,
other than Joe Burrow, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of these had to win because it was Derek Carr, first one, and Joe Burrow.
That's been history, though. We haven't seen. Well, typically when a rookie quarterback gets drafted, they're usually on a team that was bottom 10 in the league, right? Bottom 15 in the league, and it's usually a rebuilding team. But you have different circumstances like Mac Jones with the Patriots. I would even categorize Trey Lance with the Niners. I know he didn't start and he didn't play, but I feel like that circumstance is different than like Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars or Justin Fields and the Bears. But getting back to this game here, I think this game was practically won in the first half, especially on the slow start from the Raiders. I feel like the Bengals came out firing on all cylinders. They were up at halftime, I believe, 20-13. And it felt like Joe Burrow
I thought they had a chance, though, because the Raiders kept limiting them in field goals.
Yeah, that's true. They were playing good red zone defense, but I think the Raiders offense just wasn't good enough when they had to be. They weren't able to generate touchdowns. And I think they got what they deserved. Now, the officiating is the story, in my opinion. I don't think it was good. But the Raiders, they turned the ball over twice. They had their opportunities, especially late in the fourth quarter with a chance to win, especially in the last play of the game. They weren't able to execute it. And I think Derek Carr, I think he spiked that ball with 32 seconds left or whatever. I think that was a waste of a down. I think they should have took a shot there. But you're obviously nitpicking at that situation. Changing gears here, looking ahead for the Raiders, right? So the Bengals, they move on. They're going to play the Tennessee Titans. So we're going to pick that game later on in the show. So they're going to head to Tennessee. But sticking back with the Raiders here, there's been a lot of, I don't want to call it controversy, but there's been a lot of talks about Jim Harbaugh being the next head coach of the Vegas Raiders. And it feels like talks have been gaining steam, especially after the Raiders fired general manager Mike Mayock. I know I talked about it on the show maybe 2 weeks ago. I think it was when Carr was on, that I thought Jim Harbaugh was going to head to the Raiders, that there was a legitimate shot that he would head to the Raiders, that he almost took that Raiders job back in 2014 before he picked the job at Michigan. Do you think Harbaugh's really going to the Raiders, or do you think it's kind of just leverage that he's trying to pull for Michigan?
I mean, Michigan, I think he achieved as much as he can. I mean, obviously national championship is always the goal at college, but I think he's achieved as much as he can at Michigan. Regarding, I mean, you still have Alabama and Georgia just sitting there, and Ohio State always there, looming against you. If they want to pick Jim Harbaugh, I won't hate it. I mean, he's got to get another crack at the NFL eventually. But I would, if I was the Raiders, I wouldn't fire whatever his name is.
Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah,
Justin's
I like him. I mean, listen, that's an amazing story. Made the playoffs, almost beat the Bengals. All the adversity. The guys like him. I mean, they could have melted down the stretch. So.
Yeah. So my takeaway is, if you're the Raiders, so knowing what Mark Davis has done, right, since he's been the owner of the Raiders, right, since I think it was like 2013, I think he likes to go big game hunting. I think he looks for that big fish, and I feel like Jim Harbaugh is the guy he wants. I think Harbaugh is his target. Now, if Harbaugh falls through, right, then I think he's going to look at other candidates. But that the Raiders fired Mike Mayock, to me, means Rich Bisaccia is out. Because if they were going to keep Mike Mayock, then I think just keeping Rich Bisaccia for the year in 2022 and seeing what he's made of, I think that would be valuable. But with Mike Mayock out, you're going to hire a new general manager, whoever that's going to be. You think they're going to hire Rich Bisaccia? I think there's no shot of that. I think Bisaccia is likely gone from the Raiders, despite his heroics. I think he was 7-5 down the stretch or whatever.
I feel bad for him. He should get a job somewhere, though.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a head coach next year. But yeah, I think he absolutely put some respect on his name. Now, it's not unprecedented that an interim coach gets a job later on. We saw it with Dan Campbell. He was the interim coach in a couple spots, and he ended up landing at the Detroit Lions as the head coach. So it could happen for Bisaccia later on. But I just don't think it's going to happen with him with the Raiders, because I just can't see a general manager coming out of a different organization hiring Rich Bisaccia for the year. I just can't. I just can't
true.
see it.
They
If Mike Mayock was there, if Mike Mayock was there, right, then I think that's totally different. But I think they want a guy like Jim Harbaugh. If they can't get Harbaugh, then I think they're going to turn their attention to a guy like Dan Quinn. I think that's been a name heavily rumored there. So I think, tell you what, the more every day that goes by, to me, it feels more and more likely that Harbaugh is going to be the next head coach of the Vegas Raiders. And I think that's good for the NFL and good for the Raiders.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that at all.
It's exciting. Jim Harbaugh is exciting. Is he going to turn the organization to Super Bowl contenders? I don't know. But he's exciting, that's for sure. He's the kind of guy that people tune in to see. We saw what he was able to do with the 49ers.
I don't think he should get a big deal, though.
Oh, I think to get him, I think to get a pay. I think you got to pay.
No, well, you can pay him as much as you want, but I don't think it should be a long deal. You see time and time again. I mean, I don't think he's a coach that sticks around for a long time wherever he goes.
Yeah, again, we'll see how it plays out. I feel like we're going to get a conclusion to some head coaching vacancy within the next couple weeks. Maybe not by the time we record next week, but maybe the time after would be my guess. And I think the Raiders' job is the one to keep an eye on. Anything else you want to talk about the Bengals Raiders? I know you're a Joe Burrow guy, like we just talked about.
I mean, we'll get there later. I mean, Joe Burrow, as I said, doesn't lose a big game in his life, and he's going to get actually tested because he's on the road. Rookie quarterback doesn't usually bode well. So
huge for Joe Burrow, and if they beat Tennessee, then I think a lot of people are going to be talking differently about where Joe Burrow is in the league. And I don't really mean to continue to hit on this topic, but in my article I wrote about Justin Herbert versus Joe Burrow, I talked about if Joe Burrow was able to have playoff success, I think many people would think he's a better quarterback than Justin Herbert. And Peter, if he beats the Titans, I think everyone's going to be saying Joe Burrow over Justin Herbert.
Oh, I thought that.
I know you already are, but I think the overwhelming majority of people, I think, lean Herbert on that. I think if he beats the Titans, I think that crowd sways, me included.
Well, I mean, it's a crime, though, that Herbert's not in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. I think it's somewhat of an indictment on him. That loss against the Texans shouldn't be forgotten in Week 17. But let's switch gears, Peter. Let's go to the Saturday night game. Not good, Peter. Bills 47, Patriots 17. Josh Allen, 21 of 25, 308 yards, 5 touchdowns, QBR. Peter, would you like to guess it? 0 out of 100?
It was like, what's the perfect quarterback rating?
100.
Oh, then I don't know.
I'm asking QBR.
Oh, like 100. I mean, The other one
98.5.
the
98.5.
other one was like 153.6
Yeah.
or something.
His quarterback rating is 157.6,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is unheard of. In terms of skill position players for the Buffalo Bills, Dawson Knox, 5 receptions, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That first touchdown he had in the first quarter, holy crap! I have no
You
idea
see his
how he
press
pulled that
conference?
down.
He said he was throwing
Yeah.
that ball away.
I mean, I thought Allen was throwing it away too. Phenomenal play. Stephon Diggs was mostly held in check, surprisingly. 3 catches for 60 yards on 4 targets. Isaiah McKenzie, 3 catches for 45 yards. Turning to the Patriots side of things, defensively, no show. Offensively, Mac Jones, 24 of 38, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Sacked 3 times with a QBR of 59.6. Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, they only combined for about 57 yards rushing. No touchdowns. Kendrick Bourne, he was the leading receiver for the Patriots. 7 catches, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Fake news. That happened on the fourth quarter. In the second half, it doesn't even matter.
I think Bourne had the best game for a receiver.
Yeah, I know. But it's just garbage time. I don't know.
Well, is what it is. Bills win 47-17. So, Peter, my Josh Allen slander that I've had for the last 3 years, I'm off the boat. Josh Allen is an elite quarterback in this league. I admit, hats off to Josh Allen. We watched that game 4 times, Peter. 4 times. Patriots changed the coverages up. Nothing was working. Obviously, some of it was personnel based, but a lot of it was they threw some different things at him, and Josh Allen just aced every question to the test. And I think this was the worst defensive performance a Bill Belichick defense has ever had. I don't think that's really up for debate. And Josh Allen, he should be in the talks with the elites of the elites. I still take Mahomes over him. I still take Rodgers over him and that company, but I think he should be right in that conversation with that next tier. He's right there. However you want to slice it, top 5, top 7 quarterback in the NFL. He is that guy. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah, Bill is just doing Bills. I mean, listen, the MVP of the Bills is the punter. Last 2 games versus the Patriots, they didn't even show up. They didn't even have to. They didn't even punt at all. I mean, Belichick didn't have his defense ready to go, which is absolutely surprising and probably a little concerning.
Absolutely.
I know that's going to be your next question. Off season, I mean, listen, they blow it up.
We'll blow what up? The defense? So what would you? All right.
By Gerard Mayo, actually get a defensive coordinator. Steve Belichick, you're not going to touch the defense anymore. If that's still a thing. I don't think that's a thing. If you're Devin McCourty, I'd walk away. If I'm Matt Slater, I'd walk away. If I'm even Hightower, I'd walk away. You're not going to, I don't think you're going to win anything in the next 3 years, I think.
So here's the thing with the Patriots defense. I think a lot of it,
they're just getting older,
I think it was a combination. Why they got their butts kicked, I think it was a combination of things. A lot of them were banged up. A lot of the secondary was obviously thin. I know Jalen Mills. People hate on Jalen Mills and all, but losing him is just another step forward, another loss, and that didn't help anything. And I just felt like schematically things were just completely off.
Hey, Matt Judon, where have you been in the last 2 months?
My theory is Judon's hurt because remember at the end of the Colts game he was down for a while with the ribs. It's got to be that. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. But he was awful
after the bye week. He's just non-existent.
He was a liability in in the run game for sure. Singletary would go right at him and he couldn't do anything.
He's getting holding penalties. He's getting rough the passer penalties. I don't know.
Everything awful. So Patriots have a lot of, like you just mentioned, a lot of key free agents in terms of the defensive side of the ball. Dante Hightower and Devin McCourty, chief among them, and J.C. Jackson, who goes without saying. So I think if I were to predict here, I think Dante Hightower retires. I strongly believe that. Devin McCourty, I do believe he's back. I do think overall, I think he had a solid season, and I just can't see him leaving, going to play anywhere else, especially with the situations for some Patriots assistants across the league. If Brian Flores gets a job, could he go play for Flores? I guess it depends where. Joe Judge isn't in New York anymore. That would have been a logical one because McCourty's from New Jersey.
So where's Jason? Made a lot of sense. Jason's in Miami, right?
Jason's in Miami, but I believe he's also a free agent. He didn't play much, so I don't know where he's going to stand in his future. So if I had to guess, I say Devin McCourty's back. Do you think Gerard Mayo gets a head coaching job?
Who cares? Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, who cares?
I think he does.
I'll go to the linebackers this year. Terrible.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess with Gerard Mayo, there's been a lot of hype for him the last couple of years. He had one interview last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a great guy in the room, and
Yeah, go
he's
to the
somebody-
Broncos. Go to the Jaguars. I don't care. So,
Yeah, I think it'll be the Broncos, maybe even the Raiders. If they miss out on Harbaugh, I could see that. So you would prioritize linebackers, it seems.
yeah, I mean linebackers, cornerbacks. I know Jonathan
Would you
Jones is
resign?
gonna
Would
come
you
back.
pay J.C. Jackson?
I would, but they're not. So
I would franchise him. I think that's what they're going
because
to do.
they're just gonna be like, oh, Jonathan Jones didn't play the whole year. He was injured.
Well,
They'd
I don't
slot him
know. I
right
don't
in.
know. I don't think so. I think the one thing that Bill Belichick has always had in his defenses here, they're not afraid. I mean, paying that number one corner.
Yeah, they always have that lockdown.
They always have
Talib,
that guy,
Revis,
Ty
yeah.
Law, Asante Samuel, Aqib Talib, Darrell Revis for that year, Malcolm Butler for that short period of time, Stephon Gilmore to J.C. Jackson. Now, if J.C. Jackson's gone, I think they'll find someone else within his echelon. I don't know who that is.
They
Whether
gotta
it's
get Mac a
Darius
number one
Slay.
receiver.
That
but
was my next question, Peter. Now,
I don't think they have
offensive
cap.
skill position players.
I don't think they have cap room to do it though.
I will give you a scenario. Would you trade a second-round pick for Calvin Ridley?
No,
That would be his going rate. You would not. If he was
No,
willing to
because-
play, if he's wanting to play.
no, because obviously mental issues are a real thing, and just prayers up or whatever he's dealing with. But if he's quit on the team, I mean,
So you
what's
wouldn't give
stopping
up
him from-
you wouldn't give up that high
no,
capital for
and
him.
I love
Okay.
Calvin Ridley.
Now, in terms of like you said, the Patriots have about $30 million in cap room this year, so it's clearly less. So they're going to be looking at some of the different tiers of receivers. So this year, I don't know if you've looked at this year's free agent receiving class. There's a couple of names that stand out at you. One that I really like, Christian Kirk. I feel like he was somebody that was underutilized in Arizona. Can play that slot position. It's quick. He's a guy I really like. I also like Isaiah McKenzie, who's a free agent in Buffalo, who always tears up the Patriots. So you're looking at those kind of guys. If you want that number one receiver, all right, Peter, let me throw another one at you. Michael Thomas.
Absolutely not.
No, I'm not a
That
Michael
knee
Thomas
is
either.
absolutely destroyed.
Yeah. Feels like he hasn't played since 2006. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, a number one receiver that could become available. Odell Beckham, you want to pay him?
Yeah, I wanted them to trade for him a while ago. I mean, they're never gonna sign him now. He's gonna
I
get
think
way
he's-
too much money.
Yeah. Now I think he's going to get overpaid.
Yeah.
So not a good one for the Patriots. I'm very curious to see what this offseason goes for them. They have the 21st pick of the draft. Draft talk is going to be heating up for us a couple months. But what would you, if you're the Patriots, I don't want to say for a player, but
Defense,
positionally, does it matter what?
linebacker,
Yeah, I think I agree. Linebacker or,
cornerback, safety.
Yep, 100% agree. And if you can get Mac Jones, that number one receiver, fantastic.
I think you
If
need
you-
to get a running back though, a third down back. Because
Yeah.
I think Brandon Bowen is gonna leave. I think James White is gonna
Could
not
retire.
retire, but leave.
Yeah, I think White's another one that I think he either retires or so White's interesting. Coming off injury, he should be low price, so I think he'll be back. Bolden, maybe there's a team that overpays for him and he dips, but if you can get Mac Jones, that number one receiver, fantastic, great.
Damon Harris a
cartwheels.
free agent or is
No,
one more?
next year,
Yeah.
next year, the year after. Actually, yeah, I believe it's definitely not this year.
Okay.
But a lot of interesting pieces for this Patriots team heading forward. You know what? I'm a little upset we didn't get to see a lot of Josh Uche this year. He was somebody I really liked.
Josh
Out of
Uche and
Michigan.
Chase Winovich.
Chase Winovich, I'm not as high
I
on.
know
But
you're
Josh
young-
Uche
you're
was
young,
somebody
though.
I
I
really
mean,
like.
I don't know.
Yeah. And there's a couple other guys that I want to see play next year that didn't play this year. Stupid nerd talk for you, Peter, but Patriots drafted this guy in the 5th round last year from Michigan, Cameron McGrone. He tore his ACL last November, so 2 Novembers ago, so he didn't play at all this season. He's somebody that I really liked in college, and I wanted to see him play this year, and he obviously couldn't because of the ACL. And apparently he's somebody the Patriots like. He's a little bit different of that Dante Hightower model. He's a little bit smaller. So I don't know. Let's see if they transition that defense a little bit to some younger guys. I want to see Josh Uche. I feel like the kid can play.
Yeah,
Didn't
we'll be
work
in
out
there.
this
We'll be
year.
in there next year.
You would think so, right? It's big sigh on that, Peter. Big sigh on that. But
Yeah, I was right on that one too.
show goes on. Yes, I was wrong about that one. Eagles, Bucs. Yeah, you were 2-0 at this point. I'm 0-2. Eagles, Bucs.
It gets bad later. It doesn't matter.
True. Eagles, but yeah, Eagles, Bucs. Right. This game, it shouldn't really take too long. The Bucs, 31-15 over the Eagles. Heading into the 4th quarter, they were up 31-0 over the Eagles. Tom Brady was 29 of 37 for 271 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans, 9 catches for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. Other side of things, Jalen Hurts, he was 23 of 43 for 258 yards for a touchdown and 2 picks. So when you look at this Bucs Eagles game, Peter, I think you look at it, and I have a couple things. One, why is Tom Brady playing when it's 31-0? When you have a beat up offensive line,
It's Tom Brady.
Out.
Tom Brady being Tom Brady.
I get it and all, but Tristan Wirfs is out, or he's banged
Bruce
up.
Bruce Arians being Bruce Arians.
You know how I feel about Bruce Arians. I just couldn't believe Brady was still in the game, getting sacked and all that crap. Yeah, that was very annoying to me. But this Bucs team, I know they rolled against the Eagles, kicked ass, but I don't know. They're really banged up, man. Really banged up. Now to transition to the other side of things. Philadelphia Eagles. Is Jalen Hurts the future in Philly, Peter? Because I thought for a couple of drives there, I thought they were going to go for Minshew. I really did for a couple of drives.
Really? No, I mean, I think they overachieved. I don't think they should have even been there. And you're facing the steamrolled Bucs. It is what it is. I love Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yeah, you're a Jalen Hurts guy.
Yeah, I think he's the answer. I love his legs. His arm can develop. Eagles projected like 4 wins this year. Or like fair. 5 wins or whatever it is, and they made the playoffs. So I like Jalen Hurts. Surround him with enough talent. Nick Sirianni, I don't think he's a bad coach. I don't think he's a good one, but
yes, Nick Sirianni made the playoffs, so we can't really clown him. I'm not sold on Hurts. I know a bunch of people are, but he just, to me anyway, I hate that how he kind of ditches out from the pocket too early. And he tries to just improvise in the run when he doesn't have to. And I don't know, just sometimes it doesn't work out. I do feel that the Eagles are going to explore options to upgrade at the quarterback position because they have that treasure chest of draft picks, like you said. I know Howie Roseman said Jalen Hurts is their guy and stuff, but you're telling me if Deshaun Watson wants to go there or Russell Wilson wants to go there, they're going to say no. I just feel like that isn't the case. Now, I'm not saying that.
I mean, that's a guarantee, though. You know,
but I think they have the ammo to go get those guys too.
Yeah, right. I mean, they have 3 first-round picks, but I mean, 25 of the 32 teams. If Aaron Rodgers walks through that door, they're gonna say, "See him."
But I think only of that 25, I think only 5 of them have the draft capital, the cap room, and all to support what he wants. So I think the Eagles, they have a lot of draft picks. So I'm very curious how they go about it. Not saying they take a lateral move and they go sign like Jimmy Garoppolo in the offseason. Like that wouldn't make sense. But if they want to kick the tires on Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, because I'm convinced they have, that wouldn't surprise me. But I think if you're the Eagles, you're an Eagles fan, I think you're content of how the season went. I think you still have an unknown commodity with Jalen Hurts. I think his ceiling is clearly yet to be reached. I still think he needs an upgrade at skill position players. I know we were talking about how we think the Patriots need an upgrade. I think the Eagles supporting cast is a lot worse. Jalen Reagor, man, is just yak. They moved Zach Ertz in the offseason. Dallas Goedert's a nice little tight end, but you need some other weapons. It didn't work out with Deshaun Watson a couple of years back. And
they'll figure.
Deshaun Jackson.
They'll figure it out. They have 3 first-round picks, so they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, and Devonta Smith's over there too, who's somebody I like, but he didn't have the season that Jalen Waddle or Jamar Chase had put together. Now, is that an indictment on him? Not necessarily. I still think he can improve and be one of the best receivers in that draft class, but I think he still has some ways to go. So if you're the Eagles, I think you solidify that offensive line and try to build that team inwards. And run the damn ball. I know they started to do it at the end of the season and it worked, but at the beginning of the season, for some reason, they just didn't, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So we were both right about that one, Peter. That was both our premium picks. So we were 1-2.
It's probably the easiest.
So after last Saturday, you were 2-1. I was 1-2.
I was 3-0. Thank you.
I'm sorry. You were 3-0. I was 1-2.
Now it gets all downhill.
Now we get to the good stuff, Peter.
49ers, after the Bucs, I was like, listen, I'm going to go 6-0.
Oh, no. As soon as I saw this game,
absolutely
Peter,
no.
I'm sitting on my couch, right? And I said, this is the game where I finally get back on track, is this one. After watching the first drive, 49ers upset the Cowboys 23-17. 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, 16-25, 172 yards and an interception. Elijah Mitchell, 27 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown. Deebo Samuel had 10 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown, along with 3 catches for 38 yards. Other side of things, Dak Prescott, did not play well, in my opinion. 23 of 43 for 254 yards and a touchdown and a pick. Zeke Elliott wasn't there. 12 carries for 31 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 1 reception for 21 yards. Cowboys were led by Dalton Schultz for 7 catches and 89 yards. But, Peter, you can't talk about this game without talking about the finale. The final finish, Peter. 14 seconds left in the game. Cowboys are around the 50-yard line, just about, give or take. Kellen Moore cues up a quarterback draw for Dak Prescott. Takes it about 18 or so yards. Gets down, and the ball is not able to be snapped before the game ends. Game ends, and the Cowboys fall short in a colossal failure. If you're a Cowboys fan, I think it's just so bad, man. Peter, I'll walk this through. I was at Jillian's, right? I was at Jillian's. It was me, Dylan, and TJ. We're sitting there, right, watching the game, and whatever. I think they called a timeout. It was 14 seconds left. They called their last timeout or something, and I'm like, all right, they're gonna do a 15-yard out to Amari Cooper, and they're gonna set up a Hail Mary from the 35-yard line. And TJ and Dylan, I believe, were like, oh, I think they're gonna take a shot now. They're gonna use their shots now and stuff like that. And I was like, no, they're gonna try to get up closer here. They're gonna try to set themselves up for 2 or 3 Hail Mary plays from the 30-yard line. That was my thought. But under no circumstances, Peter, did I ever imagine in my little brain that Dak Prescott would start taking off in the middle of the field with the time expiring. And there was a Cowboys fan at the bar, right? 2 Cowboys fans.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God, Peter. They're like, you got to be kidding me. What do you do? Like, while he's running, like, everyone is like, oh, my goodness gracious. Everyone is freaking out. And sure enough, Prescott didn't get the ball off. And the game concluded that way. Now, Peter, Kellen Moore supposedly called that play. But Mike McCarthy is in the headset. He hears it. Dak Prescott's a veteran quarterback. Got paid $160 million. Also in the game, like they're all cognitive. They're all aware about the circumstance and the situation. Under no circumstances should the Cowboys have run that play. I understand the referee. Like, I get it. He bobbled the ball, whatever. But you need to account for that. You can't make it that close where everything needs to be perfect. Because if you're the Cowboys, nothing is perfect, and they played like ass that entire game. They deserve to lose. And Mike McCarthy, Peter, I don't know if you read my article or not on dailygoats.com, should be fired.
Yeah, he should be fired. You can take a victory lap on that. I shouldn't have picked the Cowboys to win this or make the Super Bowl. You shouldn't have bet on them to make the Super Bowl either. I mean, you've been saying it since he actually got hired, and Green Bay fans have been saying it for years. Mike McCarthy's not a good coach. He'll never be a good coach. But I mean, if you want to say who to blame, it's 90% on Dak Prescott and 10% on Mike McCarthy. Here's
the thing. Prescott,
you got to slide earlier. You can't do that.
But if you're Mike McCarthy, here's the thing. This is why it goes back to McCarthy. Dak, when you slide, you got to give the ball to the ref. We can't snap it unless the ref touches it. Prescott had no idea about that rule. No idea. Instead, he actually tried to spot the ball 2 yards towards the end zone, and the ref had to back it up, which caused the bobble, and it ended. I agree with you that Dak should have been more aware of this situation.
And then Dak at the end of the game, he's like, listen, yeah, our fans, great. Throwing a
rough
trash at the thing. I was like,
rough look, Dak.
Lost all respect for Dak. I like Dak too. And
rough look. It's the bad look. But if you're Mike McCarthy.
If you want to second guess something, I mean, you said Elliott. I mean, Elliott played horrible. He's been injured the whole year.
Yeah.
The one drive that Pollard was in, drove right down the field with a touchdown. I don't know why. Right after that,
Tony Pollard guy, Peter.
I don't think Pollard is good. I think Pollard is good because Elliott is so bad. That line is so good, and he complements somebody real well. Because I think if he's a number 1 running back, I think he'll get killed. But I don't know why they went away from Elliott. I mean, away from Pollard, especially after that drive.
What was their game plan on both sides of the ball? First of all, they came out like, look, the Patriots loss was a colossal, awful failure, 100%. Like, they got their butts kicked. But if the Patriots would have lost by 3 or 10, I don't think we would have called it this bad. This Cowboys loss, in my opinion, Peter, is 10 times worse. I really think it's that much worse. The Cowboys have so much talent on both sides of the ball. They're in Super Bowl win mode, right? They just paid Prescott $160 million. They have all their guys, right? None of their guys have walked in free agency yet. None of their guys have aged out. They have everybody. They're in win now mode. They have a home playoff game against the 49ers, who, again, got hot in the later part of the season, but the Cowboys should win that game. They came out of the gate sleeping. The 49ers opened the game with a 7-drive, 75-yard scoring drive, and Cowboys were nothing to be seen. The first defensive play for the Cowboys was an offside. Randy Gregory was offsides in the first play of the game. Like, they just weren't there. They were down 13-0 at one point. I think they were down 16-7 at halftime. The first quarter, they just weren't ready to go, and that's on McCarthy. 100% on Mike McCarthy. They were flagged 14 times, Peter, for 89 yards. Would you like to guess how many of those were pre-snap penalties? So like false start, offsides?
Probably like 10.
6 of those. That's an absurd number for a playoff team. 6 out of your 14 penalties are pre-snap penalties.
Listen, Cowboys will always be choke artists. They've won 3 playoff games in the last blank amount of years. I don't even know.
Nothing. It's 3 playoff wins in 25 years. And Mike McCarthy's not the guy to get them over this hump. And if you're Jerry and Stephen Jones, right? Look, the Cowboys are the most penalized team in the NFL this season. They led the league in offsides penalties and unnecessary roughness penalties. Shocker. They're not buttoned up. They can't win in clutch situations. They can't do the little things right. Mike McCarthy just isn't that guy that can lead the Cowboys. He's not. Can Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys win the NFC East next year? For sure. Would I pick them to win it? Absolutely. Are they going to win a Super Bowl under Mike McCarthy? Nope. 0, 0, 0, 0. There's a ceiling on it. Your ceiling is the divisional round. You're not getting any further than that with Mike McCarthy as your coach. You're not. And if you're a Cowboys fan, you should be absurdly upset. And it's just that simple. Stephen Jones backed Mike McCarthy and he says he wants to keep him around. But how could you? You're in win now mode. It's not like you have this 15-year window, right? Like you just paid Dak Prescott, right? So you just gave him that a long-term extension, which means you're not going to have all the capital to spend on everybody else in the next couple of years. Like something has to give here. Your defense is loaded. Your offense is extremely loaded. Zeke's still in his prime. I know he's banged up, but he's still in his prime. Amari Cooper, same thing. CeeDee Lamb, I know he's young, but he's kicking ass. Like Michael Gallup's a free agent at the end of the year. Dalton Schultz, like they have all these guys, right? You could put them up toe-to-toe with any roster in the NFL, and they're just as talented.
Yeah, they're a top 5 offense.
Anything. Top 5 offense, top 5 defense, and you just need competency at the head coaching position, and you just can't get it with Mike McCarthy. You just can't. He's a fine average coach. If he was the coach of the Browns, Peter, nobody would give a shit because that's the Browns. That's the expectations. But when you're the head coach of the Dallas freaking Cowboys and you haven't won a playoff game in 25, or you've won 3 playoff games in 25 years, seriously, you got to think long and hard, Jerry Jones, because this isn't just an ordinary circumstance. Go get yourself a real coach. Go pay for Jim Harbaugh. Or if you like Kellen Moore, promote Kellen Moore. Or if this is what I would do, I would hire Mike Zimmer. But this is what I think is going to happen, Peter, if you want my Cowboys prediction. Dan Quinn's going to go in the offseason, right? He's going to get hired by someone else. The Cowboys, if things don't work out with Mike Zimmer as for a head coach next year, which it could happen, right? He hasn't had any interviews yet. He's going to be the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, right? And then who do you think is going to be the Cowboys head coach in 2023? I'll let you take a guess. It ain't going to be Mike McCarthy.
So is Kellen Moore going to leave in your scenario?
I don't think he matters.
Really?
You mean Dan Quinn? No, because Dan Quinn, Mike Zimmer's defensive coordinator. So Kellen Moore can still be there. That's fine. But I think Moore gets the job in the offseason.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
You know they're not going to do anything. They're just going to stand pat. They're the Cowboys.
I know.
They've kept Jason Garrett for, 12 years or whatever it was?
This is different, though.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Jerry Jones liked Jason Garrett, and he had a soft spot for him.
No,
I don't think he gives a shit about Mike McCarthy.
It's the Cowboys. They're
always
going to lose. They're always
losing. Seriously, all right, if Mike McCarthy's been there 2 years now, I know Prescott missed most of last year. What has been his calling card like? Okay, after 2 years, we've seen this.
Nothing.
They get penalized the crap. Has Dak Prescott improved?
He's just a product of Aaron Rodgers.
Has Dak Prescott improved?
No.
I don't think he has. Has Zeke Elliott improved? Certainly not.
No, but
the defense has improved, but that can be an attrition of Dan Quinn, not Mike McCarthy. Nothing's improved under Dan Quinn. Under Mike McCarthy. Nothing. Nothing has gotten better. When you went from Jason Garrett to Mike McCarthy, you did it because Mike McCarthy could get you over the hump, something that Jason Garrett couldn't do. But in all reality, Peter, they're the same freaking coach. Same coach. Same exact coach. Ugh. Sorry, Peter. I had to go on that rant. Can't stand it. Oh, all right, Peter. Just on the 49ers side of things, are you concerned about Jimmy Garoppolo's injury?
No, because Garoppolo, I think, is way better in the playoffs than Trey Lance, regardless of his injury. If Trey Lance steps in there, they have no shot.
No shot.
No
I
shot.
agree. Steelers Chiefs, Peter. Let's get on to that one. That's a Sunday night game. This will be a quick game. Steelers, they kept it close in the first quarter. It was 0-0 after one, but the Chiefs ended up winning 42-21. Patrick Mahomes, he got his playoff mojo back, that's for sure. He was 30 of 39 for 404 yards and 5 touchdowns. Travis Kelce had 5 catches for 108 yards and a touchdown. The Chiefs, they after the first quarter, Peter, they dominated offensively. They scored 21 points in the second quarter, 14 points in the third quarter, and Ben Roethlisberger's career ends how we anticipated it would, to a loss in the playoffs in the first round. So the Chiefs back.
Hey, I mean, hats off Roethlisberger. I mean, Hall of Fame career. You played one more game than you're supposed to.
Yeah, you're right, and he made the playoffs.
It is what it is. I mean, the Chiefs play a real opponent. I know TJ Watt showed up on defense, but nobody else did. It's a fake game. As we said in the beginning of the show, 2-7, it doesn't matter.
Awful. Again, tell you what, Peter. So last Sunday, right? I saw the first live. I only saw the first quarter, and it was 0-0. So I picked the under, right? And you picked the
I picked the
Steelers. Oh yes, we both got our ass kicked. Yeah. I felt good about the under. I was like, oh, the under's nothing. Like that's gonna hit. Steelers aren't gonna score 20 points, and the Chiefs' offense isn't really doing much. Like easy under. Nope, wrong.
Yeah, then Mahomes is just like, all right, we'll put up 35 points in one quarter.
So through 5 games at this point, Peter, I am 2-3, and I believe you are
3-2.
3-2. So heading on to the Monday night game, right? Rams, Cardinals, battle of the NFC West. Wow, Wolf is right. Rams, they win 34-11. Matt Stafford, he didn't really have to do much, but hey, a win's a win. 13-17 for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sony Michel, 13 carries for 58 yards, and Cam Akers returned. 17 carries for 55 yards. Odell Beckham, he had 4 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown. He also threw a 40-yard bomb, Peter. Odell Beckham might have been his best game as a Ram. And that Rams defense was phenomenal. But turning into the other side of things, that Cardinals offense, holy wow. I will say this, Peter. Kyler Murray had the worst offensive performance out of any quarterback in the postseason. So
Kyler, you should think about going back to the A's.
Jeez, he was awful, man. He wasn't ready for the moment. Not at all. He was not ready. He was.
I don't get how rookie quarterbacks are like. I don't know if it's just like film or like pressure, but like somebody said this on another podcast, like ESPN or something. But like I don't get how they're that bad because like they play in championship games all the time. Mac Jones playing the national championship. Yeah. Kyle Murray playing it.
It's just different. It's just different. But I mean, with Mac Jones, he's a legitimate rookie. Kyler Murray's in his third?
No, I know, year. But it just doesn't make sense. They play in high pressure games all the time.
Kyler Murray looks like he's never played in a pressure game in his life. He was 19 of 34, 137 yards. All right, Peter, we're gonna play this game again. Kyler Murray, guess his QBR, 0 from 100.
19.
Ooh, 7.6. Awful, man. Christian Kirk was the Cardinals' leading receiver, 6 catches for 51 yards. DeAndre Hopkins remained out. But wow, this Cardinals team was awful. Holy Mac, this was a real bad finish. This was the number 1 team in the NFC for the overwhelming majority part of the season.
This is the only, not counting the Bills Patriots game because I had an eye on that in the second half, but I turned that off too. This is the only game that I turned off, like completely.
You did, yeah.
I was like,
was that bad.
That's it. After Murray threw the interception at like pick 6, and I was like,
yeah, that's when it was done. Cardinals 0-9 on third down. That's the story of the game to me. 0 of 9, awful. And the Rams were 6-13 on third down. Just that Cardinals offense, I thought they were better, man. I thought Kyler Murray, I was starting to buy in a little bit because I know I haven't been a huge Kyler guy, but I was starting to buy in.
Well, I was dependent on the I had Cardinals plus 3.5, sorry. But I was dependent on Hopkins showing up at least. And I guess he's lost forever.
Yeah.
He's way too injured. I don't know. I think Kyler needs
Does
that
he
big
need that number one
players.
guy?
Yeah, I think he does because whenever he runs around and does whatever he does, he usually just chucks up the Hopkins, and 9 out of 10 times he comes down with the ball. So I don't know because nobody
Rams
stepped up
defense,
there. Either. Yeah,
the Rams defense looked legit though.
it's true. Von Miller looks like Von Miller 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh, he was awesome in this game.
I don't know if that's more on the Cardinals or more on whatever he's doing.
It could be a mix of both, but the Rams defense came to play. I mean, that was really awesome to see. So Rams 34-11, and I had the over in that game, so I fell to 2-4.
Yeah, well, I had 3-3. Yeah, I was so sad. Like I said, I thought
You thought you were 6-0.
I thought I was going 6-0.
After that 49ers game, I was like, oh, I'm good.
Shout out to Jake. He called me. He's like, listen, how much money do you win? Like, you bet on the Bills, didn't you? I was like, yeah, but I didn't bet it in real life. He's like, oh, why? We get so bad rap. Such a bad rap.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're right. We can go through the countless stories about how people.
He thinks we bet every game, and he's like,
Yeah,
how
like-
much you bet on this? What do you do on this?
Yeah,
like-
I'm gonna go to the casino Wednesday night, and I'm gonna bet on the Bruins.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, man. Big sigh. All right, Peter. So those were the playoff games for Wild Card Weekend. If I had to grade them, D.
Yep.
D. I think that's a fair number. But the 49ers Cowboys game is why best game of the week for me. Awesome. Loved it.
Yeah. No,
It is.
I like the Bengals Raiders.
The Bengals Raiders wasn't bad either.
1A, 1B, and then every else is 7.
Yeah, fair. All right, Peter, before we make our picks for divisional weekend, let's play a little game. So I know on Rough in the Basket, if you didn't catch it yet, they ranked their top 10 quarterbacks in the league. So me and Peter are going to do a little bit of spin-off on that because that was such a fantastic idea from Noah and Carr. Shout out Rough in the Basket. We're going to rank the top 8 remaining quarterbacks in the playoffs. But here's the caveat here, Peter. You're in the Super Bowl, Peter, right? You are in the Super Bowl. You have one game for your coaching career, and you get to pick one quarterback. So we're going to rank them 1 through 8 based on that criteria. So, Peter.
Are we going 1 through 8 or are we going 1, 1, 2, 2? Right? Are we going back and forth? Or you want?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll go. Yeah, sure. Give me your number 1.
Tom Brady. Shocker.
Oh, Peter, I'm impressed with you. I thought for sure you'd go
No,
Rodgers.
if it's one game, I mean, listen, he's done it all of his life. Spoiler alert, I'm betting against him because I'm me. But
yeah, because he's Peter. Speaking of that, Noah texted me, right? Shout out Rough in the Basket again. Text me on Wednesday or Thursday. He's like, when's the podcast coming out? And I told him, and he's like, can't wait to see Peter pick against Tom Brady, man.
yeah.
He does that every week. He doesn't learn, huh? And I'm like,
Well,
no.
I mean, listen, I didn't do it versus the Eagles because I know better, but even if the Bucs beat the Rams and the Bucs face the Packers, the 49ers, doesn't matter.
You're picking the Packers. I get it. Yeah. All right. So you have Tom Brady number 1. I also have Tom Brady number 1. Number 2. Who do you have number 2?
Patrick Mahomes, but it's close.
I agree with you. Patrick Mahomes is my number 2.
Then Aaron Rodgers number 3, but it's really close. You can do 2, 3, however way.
Yeah, Peter, we get the same list so far. Aaron Rodgers is my number 3.
Number 4, Joe Burrow. I think Josh Allen melts.
My number 4 is Josh Allen. Crazy
I've
to
just
say,
seen him-
but I have Josh Allen in front of your list with Josh Allen. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've seen him throw 4 picks versus the Falcons, 4 picks versus the Jets.
Fair.
I know he's lit up the past 3 games, but there's a little in him that chokes. And Joe Burrow, I mean, January Joey. So do you have
Fair.
Burrow 5?
Who's your 5?
I have 5 Josh Allen, obviously.
Mine is close, but I lean Joe Burrow 5.
Cool.
Joe Burrow 5. I think he's playing better than Stafford is right now. It feels like the Rams are a little afraid of Stafford. I think they're just a little afraid of him. All right, 6.
I have
Who's your
Jimmy
6?
Garoppolo. I think he's
Whoa.
safer than Stafford. Listen, shout out to Noah. You can't ever take the Lions out of Stafford. I think biggest moment he'll turn into a Lion. And I think Garoppolo is safer than Stafford. I
go Stafford 6. I do. I feel like I know he's been inconsistent this year, but I would trust him more in a playoff game. Did you see Jimmy Garoppolo, that interception he had and that near almost interception?
So bad.
Sorry, I'm not. I know Garoppolo's been to a Super Bowl, but I'm sorry. I'll take Stafford. Stafford 6. Who's your 7?
Stafford.
Stafford 7.
Because just out of basis, because Cannot pick Ryan Tannehill lower than 8. Sorry.
Ryan Tannehill has to be last.
Can't do it.
7 is Jimmy Garoppolo for me. I know I just crapped on him, but I'll take him over Tannehill. At least he has that experience. And I do think when he's in rhythm, he's in rhythm. I really believe that. And I feel like he can be a franchise guy in the right situation. He's my 7. Number 8.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ryan Tannehill is my number 8.
it is what it is. He's just the last one left.
He's my number 8, and I don't really I don't think he's an issue for the Titans. Like, I don't think they're like, oh my God, you got to deal with this freaking bum. But I just don't think he can really elevate them as much as
I think he's a nature
can.
of Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, Julio Jones.
Exactly. If Derrick Henry's going, you're in business. I think that's how I kind of slice it up. And you're at home, like that's beneficial. But yeah, Tannehill's 8 in my list. So those are our lists for the top 8 remaining quarterbacks left in the playoffs. I think that's a pretty good list, Peter. I think we differentiated a couple of them. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, Peter, without further ado, let's start predicting the divisional round here. Peter, I'll tell you what, I got a good feeling about this weekend in football. I think this weekend we are going to have 3 of the 4 games be great.
Oh, I think all these are going to be great.
I don't know about great. Like that, they'll be all good games, but I don't think they're going to be. I think 3 of these games are going to come down to the last possession.
This board is so hard, though.
What to pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. But let's start off with the Saturday afternoon game. Bengals, Titans. The Titans are as the 1 seed, and the Bengals coming off their win against the Raiders. Titans are 3.5-point favorites. Peter, I think I know where you're going, but who do you got?
Derrick Henry's coming back, but I don't think I love the Bengals plus 3.5. I would not be surprised though if the Titans win. All that being said about Joe Burrow, I just love the hook plus 3.5.
I know it's like that Georgia Alabama line a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think it was, to me anyway, that's how I viewed the Cowboys line. I viewed it the same way as that. I'm going to go with the Titans minus 3.5 here. Number 1 seed in the conference, coming off a bye, had a week off. Derrick Henry's healthy now. It's tough to pick against the Titans. And I think Derrick Henry's going to have his way with that Bengals defense because I don't think that Bengals defense, especially in the front 7, are going to be able to stop Derrick Henry. Joe Burrow on the road, his first playoff game. I think it'll be difficult. I like the Titans here. And I think the Titans are going back to the AFC Championship game. Titans, minus 3.5. All right, Peter, moving on. 49ers, Packers, the Saturday night game. Jimmy Garoppolo, he looks like he's going to play. Aaron Rodgers, number 1 seed in the NFC. This could be Aaron Rodgers' last go-around with the Packers. If they lose, it could certainly be his last home game as a member of the Packers. What do you like?
It's the hardest game on the board, I think. I have the Packers minus 6, premium pick of the week. But I would not be surprised if the 49ers win. I like I've said the whole month, I think Mason Crosby is going to screw him out of a game. I don't know if it's going to be this one, but watch down the stretch. I just think that Garoppolo is going to make a mistake, and obviously Rodgers is a million times better than him, but I just do not trust Mason Crosby. But all that being said, I love their offense, and they can put up points.
So this is my premium pick of the week. I like the Packers minus 6. And I'm not in love with it. And that's my premium pick. And it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't love it.
I don't know why. Like, I felt great about this pick until maybe yesterday. And I'm just like, the Packers going to be ready to go. 49ers are rolling, man. That second half performance against the Rams, it felt like they got their shit together and they were moving. And coming off a big win against the Cowboys, I don't know, man. Like, I like the Packers minus 6. Again, that's my premium. But I'll tell you what, Peter, I will say this. If the Packers don't cover in this game, they lose.
I don't think so because I think the Packers have played close games all year.
I just feel like they're going to win convincingly. They're not going to win at all. I don't know. Gut feeling on this one. But I'm going to take the Packers minus 6. Aaron Rodgers heads back to the NFC Championship game. And for another huge, huge game against whoever his opponent is, it's going to be an anticipated game. Rams, Bucs heading to the AFC. Oh, I'm sorry. Not the AFC side of things. Yeah. Rams, Bucs continuing with the NFC side of things here. Rams coming off that big win against the Cardinals. Bucs coming off that decent win against the Eagles. Bucs are 3-point favorites. What do you like in this game, Peter?
Here you go. No, Rams plus 3. Bet against Tom Brady.
Tucker!
The only reason why I don't pick the Bucs, and this is probably the second hardest game on this whole slate. I just think the Bucs are too injured. I think they're gonna get steamrolled by Aaron Donald and Von Miller. And then Jalen Ramsey is going to lock up Mike Evans because I think he's softer. I don't think they have enough star power. Is Leonard Fournette even going to play? I thought he was going to play last week. And
I think that's still up in the air.
Surprising. I mean, I don't know. I just think that Brady's going to run short, but obviously, again, it would not be surprising. Tom Brady makes his 1,000,000th championship conference game, and watch me cry. So
I agree with you. I got the Rams +3 here, and I'm not in love with it either.
that's bold of you. You love Tom.
I know
that's your Super Bowl pick.
I'll give you. Yeah, I'm going to stick true because that was my preseason Super Bowl pick. I got a little clown from other people about sticking with it, but look, they came off a really big win against the Cardinals, and it feels like they got the Bucs at the right time. First of all, they beat the Bucs earlier in the season. Week 2 or 3, they won like 31. I forgot what the score was, 38-17, something like that, and they won the game. And the Bucs have a lot of injuries, like you talked about. Fournette's banged up. Tristan Wirfs, their tackle, is banged up. Their offensive line as a whole is banged up. Godwin, he's obviously out. And I don't know. To me, anyway, the Rams are coming in hot. And if their formula could be keeping this game defensively, in the low 20s, and I think they'll have a shot to win. I like the Rams +3. But would it shock me, Peter, if Brady's headed back for his another championship game appearance? No. But I like the Rams +3 here. I'm going to stick with them all the way through. They're just the team that feels like they're getting hot at the right time. They feel to me, Peter, like the 49ers in a way.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know the Rams blew it in the second half against the Niners in week 18, but I feel like before that they were getting their stuff together. And that win against the Cardinals, man, they beat the Cardinals good. Like, I don't know. I like the Rams here. Arguably the most anticipated game of the week is this one. I wish it was the AFC Championship game, but it's not. Bills Chiefs. This was a repeat of last year's AFC Championship game. It's a real shame that this isn't the AFC Championship this year. It'll be the divisional round. Chiefs are 2-point favorites in Kansas City as the Chiefs coming off their win against the Steelers. Bills coming off their win against the Patriots. Who do you like?
I like their over-under is ridiculous, too. I think it's like 57. It's so stupid. I like the Bills +2. I just think the Chiefs defense is going to get exposed. Like I've said previously, I don't think they faced any good offense in the last 2 months. I think the Bills are playing all the cylinders. But all that being said, I would not be surprised if the Chiefs won because of Pat Mahomes and he can do what he wants. I don't think the Bills defense has been tested either. They've had a real soft schedule. Tre'Davious White injury that really hasn't been shown because they've faced the Falcons, Jets, Saints. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
And the Mac Jones, sorry. But I don't know. It's just going to be a shootout. Would not be surprised if it gets the Monday night game of 4 years ago versus the Rams, whatever that was, the Chiefs. It was
that was 3 or 4. That was a great game.
It was 42 to 37 or something stupid.
I think you're taking the Bills.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Chiefs -2. And actually, Peter, I mean, I wouldn't bet it in real life. I wouldn't bet this, but I low-key kind of like the under here. I do. I feel like the Bills defense is arguably the best in the league. I feel like the Chiefs defense is in the right direction. And I could see this game hitting the under. I like the Chiefs. I felt like the Bills are coming off an emotional win this past Saturday. And usually that doesn't bode well. And I feel like the Chiefs offense is firing on all cylinders. And if you're going to beat the Chiefs, Peter, I feel like the success is to run the ball and keep Pat Mahomes off the field. And it feels like the Bills are just the Chiefs, except Mahomes is a little better than Josh Allen.
But I mean, listen, the Bills, credit. I mean, they built their team to not play in Buffalo. They're not playing in Buffalo. They built the team to beat the Chiefs in the AFC.
I hope it snows in KC. I hope it snows.
No, you want it to snow in Tennessee next week.
Ah. Yeah.
Then you'll see Josh Allen.
But I will say, I mean, if the Titans advance, I feel like I know they're going to be the underdog.
Oh, they will, yeah.
I feel like they have a recipe to beat.
Hey, listen, they beat. Listen, if Titans can beat the Bengals, Titans beat the Chiefs before, and Titans also beat the Bills before, so they're not scared.
See how it goes. All right, Peter. Let's hope that our picks are better this week opposed to last week. Let's hope we get a great slate of football. Divisional round is usually some good games. Let's hope we actually get it this week. Next week, anticipated championship game picks too. So that's big. All right, Peter, you got anything else?
I don't want to say stay divisional. That's so weird.
You gotta think of something else.
Stay Joey for Joe Burrow. State.
Ugh.
Go Joe Burrow. Listen, NFL's in good hands. I think they're rooting against the Titans because I don't think they can put Ryan Tannehill in the Super Bowl. But any other slice that you weigh, you can have Rodgers in the Super Bowl. You can have Stafford in the Super Bowl. Josh Allen in the Super Bowl. Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Brady, obviously. Joe Burrow. Garoppolo might be a tough sell, but they're in good hands, I think.
You need the quarterback, and obviously Tennessee doesn't have the quarterback. So we'll see how it shakes out, Peter.
Stay melty, I guess. Go Josh Allen.
Yeah. You're going to melt.